My name is Lukas and I am the service user representative from Herefordshire and I am 3 years clean from polydrug misuse. I was already partway through my recovery when I first joined Turning Point because I'd made the initial decision to become clean and start a new life, but it was Turning Point that gave me the building blocks to do that. So I was involved with a few recovery groups, focus groups, and I was also volunteering in food banks just to sort of have something to do with my time. And there was a lovely lady called Helen who worked for Turning Point, and she set up a little music group for people in service, and I became a part of that group. And from there, she realised how passionate I was about sort of being in the world of recovery and using it as my way of getting through into living a proper life. She saw potential in me that no one else really saw, and she was very persistent and offered me a service representative role and gave me responsibilities that I hadn't had before. My whole life now revolves around service user involvement, so it's but Turning Point as a service, from the very get-go, they encourage it, whether that's just having control over your own recovery path with medications, time schedules, there's no pressure, all the way up to giving you the opportunity to actually have a say in how the service is run. And I think that's a huge step forward in the way that these services are run, because there's no better way of having a service run than having the people using that service, having control over it. So service user involvement is basically anyone who is a part of the recovery service, or specifically Turning Point as we're speaking about now, anyone who is far enough along in their recovery path to want to be involved can be, and that can be at any level, whether it's just, again, like I said, controlling their own recovery paths, or whether they actually want to have a say in the service. And a great example that I tend to bring up with this is in our service in Hereford, the lobby layout wasn't particularly great. There was a complaints box right next to the front desk and it wasn't being used, and so we had a couple of service users, including myself, come in and speak to the managers and just explain, if we could have a better layout that would be more inviting for service users, then that would be great. And they were totally happy with that. They made the effort. We drew up a plan and we gave reasons why, and they followed it through. So to me, that is service user involvement. It doesn't have to be at the higher levels where I am, where I'm going to conferences and doing presentations and stuff. I think that scares quite a lot of people. So being able to be involved even at those lower levels, that's what it's all about. Like I say, Turning Point are extremely good at doing that. The impact on my recovery it's had stems not only from just having something to do and having something to wake up to every day, but it's also given me confidence back, the responsibility and the different experiences I've been able to gain over the last year are second to none. Being involved in national service user councils, having a say on national policy in terms of how the service is run, being given the responsibility of taking the knowledge from the National Service Council and actually building my own service user forum in Hereford. And hopefully I'll find some like-minded service users to help sort of pull the rope. It's a completely new life. If I could just keep doing what I'm doing and do it in as many places as possible, then that would be great. What would I tell 19-year-old Lukas? I would probably slap him a couple of times and tell him that there is actually a life out there if you just put the effort in. No matter how much negativity you have had in your life, there's always a way of turning it around. So don't give up.